All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 12 of our freelance consultant training. I am as happy to be here as always, and I'm glad that we're making progress, and I'm glad that, the progress is able to take away the shift or the wheat from the shaft, if you like. And in fact, I feel that what is happening in this training is going to even reflect on the topic we're going to be having today because as a matter of fact, this inaugural training of ours is more or less like an experimental phase to see how members of the public or how our niche market or how our target audience are going to receive the resources and the value that we're offering. So today is going to also be like a reflection for me, even as a person with regards to this particular course or this particular program that we're, putting out there. We started, it's been quite a journey. I think we've had about 6 sessions so far, or this should be about the 6th or the 7th. I'm not sure now. I'm not able to go back now to retrace all that we've done today, but I'm sure that most people who are here, all that we've done so far, but I'm sure that most people who are here are people who started with us from the very beginning. So they, of course, have clarity or kind of like a fair idea of where we came from. So I wouldn't want to go and reiterate. Maybe in our next class, I would do like a quick backlog of where we've come from. But today we're going to be looking at positioning your niche. Yes, last week, sorry, it was last week, Friday, we looked at what a niche is, because we assume that so many people may not even know what a niche is. And we were able to educate you about what a niche is and why it is important and why you should consider it. And today we're going to be talking about positioning that niche. Some of this grammar might be a little heavy for some of you, I understand, but that's why it is a learning platform, so that you will learn things that you probably did not know. I know that for as many of you, you're just basically people who might not have had some high level of education, and you're just basically looking for something to do. Sometimes I even feel guilty. Like I feel like sometimes my English is even a little too much. But then again, this is what we have. And we can only give what we have, right? If there are ways though in between that I will also be reviewing to find ways to either combine Pidgin English or do it in such a way that it'll be easy to understand, the better. But I know that the numbers in terms of the people who are consuming this resources that we're giving is dwindling, because not many people are able to connect with the level, in terms of the communication, and the level at which we're teaching. But we can only do what we can, like I said. So, and like I said today is also going to be more or less like a module that will help us to also reflect and review the content and the target audience for the kind of program we offer. We know that our program is centered around unemployment, around poverty, right? And so what it means is that most times is the people at the lower basement of society who are there, and not many of them are very educated, but then this will help us to also be able to narrow down specifically who exactly within the unemployment space do we want to provide solutions for, do we want to provide support for? Because again, communication is key, right? So we must be able to communicate with those sets of people who we expect that at the end of their exposure with us, they will be impacted and they can make decisions that will be transformational, so to speak. So with that being said, we're going to look at positioning your niche. So like I said, last week, if you were here, we talked about what a niche is. And we talked about the fact that a niche is having you select a small spectrum or a small segment of the market and provide solution for that particular segment of the market. But now we want to look at how it is that you're going to position your niche. So we're going to start by saying, what exactly is niche positioning? So we already know what a niche is, but now we want to look at what is a niche positioning, okay? So niche positioning is more or less like a marketing strategy, or it's like a marketing style, okay, where a business, for example, in your case, maybe you, a freelancer, can decide to focus on a specific segment of the market, catering to the unique needs and preferences of that group. So like we said in our niche, what is a niche market class on Friday, that there is no business, there is no product, there is no service that is for everybody. Most people make that grave mistake of assuming that I ask them, for example, who is your product or who is your service going to serve, or whose problem is it going to solve? And people will say anybody. That's a huge mistake. In fact, it's a very dumb mistake to make as a business person. For you to assume that whatever services that you're offering or whatever product that you have is for everybody is the dumbest thing to think, because everybody cannot use your product. Not everybody will wear certain clothes. Not everybody will wear certain shoes. Not everybody will drink certain water. Not everybody will eat certain food. The most important decision you will take for the service that you offer is to be able to identify clearly that small, unique spectrum or small, unique group of people who would like, need, buy your products, okay? By the time you're able to narrow it down, then you will find that people who look like those sets of people, not necessarily exactly those kind of people, but people who look like those sets of people will end up coming for your product. For example, like I said, in our own course, we are saying that our target market are for unemployed guys, okay? We're saying that, I mean, what we do here, we can virtually say any business person can do this, or any individual who want to start a business can come and take our course, or, you know, but we are very specific to say that the people that we're specifically looking for are people who are unemployed, people who, without this sort of support, will rekindle back and fall within the poverty spectrum, if you like. But the fact that we are focused on the guys who are unemployed does not mean that somebody who is employed, who might not like the job that they are doing, or does not get paid well, or have certain reasons to need this product, will still not come for it. But the fact that you've made it very clear who exactly you're servicing, it means that the moment anybody hears, are you unemployed, and they are truly unemployed, they will run and try to see what you have in that product that you know that you're promoting to people who are unemployed. So that's basically, I'm just using ours as an example. I'm going to also share a bit of an example as we go on into this presentation. So the niche positioning also allows you as a business, as a freelancer, as a brand, to differentiate yourself from competitors and establish a strong presence within the particular market segment. For example, I'm not the only one, we're not the only one who organize trainings and capacity building, entrepreneurship training, freelance trainings like this one. There are several other people, private individuals, corporate businesses, small businesses, government agencies, organizing forums for entrepreneurship training to train people with various life skills and all that, right? But one of the things that would differentiate us from them is that we are more particular. We are trying to build a niche to say that the people that we are interested to train are people who are unemployed. So that way, it has differentiated us from the rest of the other people who are doing what we're doing. And this is something that I really pray that as many of you who are going to have different kinds of service or products or whatever it is you're doing, will be able to say specifically who exactly your product or your service is servicing or is going to service, so that those sets of people will come to you, and those sets of people who look like those specific sets of people that you're targeting will also tag along with them, you know, and come to you to buy your product, okay? Let's look at some of the important things to note about niche positioning. Please, if you didn't attend yesterday's Friday's class, please go back, because if you watch that video or you attend that class, you're going to be able to get specific clarity with regards to what we're doing here. So some important things to note about niche positioning is that niche positioning allows the business to target a specific underserved. I like that word, underserved. It should be underlined, actually. Underserved means that there are certain people within that market space. For example, I just gave an example of our organization now. The guys who are unemployed, who are clueless about how to start a business, who are even clueless about the skills or the service or the talent that they have, are the ones that we think are underserved in our own instance, for example, okay? So in your own business as well, it makes sense. We're not saying that you must choose the segment or this category of people who are underserved in all situations. No, I'm not saying that. You can actually still have your service serve people who are being served, and if you're sure that your service is competitive enough, you can get into that market and even knock the other competitors out if you so please. And there's nothing wrong with that. We can also do that. But we have chosen that the underserved segments of the market is the people that we chose to want to serve. So in our case, we are positioned narrowly to meet the needs of those people who we know have a need that has not been met, okay? So niche positioning allows businesses to target a specific underserved segment of the market, which can lead to increased customer loyalty and reduce competition. So like I said earlier, because these guys who are unemployed have not been served most of the time, we would be able to get some level of loyalty from these sets of people. We will be able to have some reduced competition because there are not many people who are trying to chase these guys. Again, besides, these unemployed guys don't even have money to pay for the service. So for us to have even been interested to come to that market, it means that, yeah, the money is important. The resources that we would exchange if there is any need for that is important. But it means that is not our priority. And you're going to see why in the course of the presentation. Now, the number two important things to note is that it enables businesses, it enables freelancers, it enables companies, brands to create specialized products. Specialized also needs to be underlined. Specialized products and services that cater to the unique needs and preferences of the target audience, resulting in a higher customer satisfaction and differentiation from competitors. Now, I like that aspect of specialized because what it means is that even if there are other competitive products or services in that space, because you are serving a particular segment of the market, the product that you will create for that special set of people should be specialized so much that it specifically hits their pain points and solve exactly the problems that they need solved. Like I said earlier, what we're doing here, entrepreneurship training, life skill training, is done by quite a lot of other people out there. But these are more generic courses, generic skill, generic things that everyone who is an entrepreneur or who is a business person would know. But because we are interested in serving this particular spectrum of market, which is special and which is underserved, we're able to make sure that the content that we create or the service that we create is specialized so much that it meets specifically the pain points of this. So for example, let me tell you one of the things that I'm doing. I'm able to create a one-on-one opportunity with as many of the people out there, even though it's still not paid for, even though it is free. The reason I'm doing that is because I know that majority of the trainings and opportunities that are out there providing some sort of information and resources to small businesses and entrepreneurs, you rarely find a situation where people are able to where you're able to access the resource person one-on-one. It's rarely heard. You rarely find. I have been to several trainings. I have organized several. I've had many trainings that I do not even want to have any kind of personal one-on-one conversation with a participant, because of course you know what that means. It means it's going to take my time. It's going to take my resources. It's going to take a lot of things. So I wouldn't be interested in that. And 90% of the guys who provide this sort of training, not many of them have that sort of one-on-one sort of coaching, right? But in our case, we want to see a situation where as these people come to us, we're able to engage with them on a personal level to find out what exactly is their challenge, what exactly is their skill, what exactly is their passion, what exactly is their gift, what exactly is it that they can do to begin to offer value to people around them or people within their community. I think that is a specialized component in what we're doing at the moment. And as time goes on, we will continue to review it, because one of the things that you must know when you also are deciding to position your niche is the fact that you need to consistently be getting innovative. You need to be thinking about, okay, so we got here now, we were able to solve 5 people's problem, but the intention was to solve 50 people's problem. What can we do the next time so that we will be able to solve more problems? How can we check what worked and what did not work? So you must know that as you are positioning your niche, you must continue to innovate, okay? Then the number 3 thing that is important to note is that successful niche positioning requires thorough market research and a deep understanding of the target audience demographics. And like I said, I know that all this is big English. So for example, market research is not it might look like it's big English, but it's just basic. Just ask questions. Those guys who want to do after school classes, find out from the people within that environment, what is their major pain point? Those guys, I know for sure that when I was a teenager and it was time for me to write WIAC, my father was concerned because he didn't want a situation where I would write WIAC more than once. He wanted me to make sure that I did everything, and he was also going to do everything to make sure that when I write that WAEC once, I'm done with it. Because I mean, there was a prevalent situation where many children around that time, when I wrote exams, were writing it more than once. They will not get maths or they will not get English and stuff like that. And I know the extra effort that he played to make sure that I sat up, I was going to school, I was taking extra classes. So I feel that most of those people who have the skill, the intellectual capacity to offer, for example, after school classes or some sort of how do I say it now? Training or teaching for students who want to write WAEC, for example, they can do a little bit of a research, talk to people within the community. What exactly are the challenges? Can we sit under the tree for 2-3 hours and talk about these mathematical issues and talk about whatever it is that they require? So you have to ask people within the environment. If you have mothers who are going to farm on a particular day and they don't want to take their children, I'm just trying to give an example of the most remotest environment. Let's just even say you don't live in the city, you live in the most remotest place and the children don't even go to school. And the mothers go to the farm on Saturday, for example, but they don't want to go with the children to the farm because the farm is very far. Can you organize and say, oh, just give me 200 naira. I will keep your children under the tree and I will tell them stories for the period that you are away so I can make a little extra for that. That is you thinking innovatively, carrying out a basic research to find out the pain points of the people within that community. If even you live in that community and there is no school, for example, you have gone to school. Maybe you went to another community to go to school and you came back to your community, for example. You can choose to say for 2-3 hours in a day, all the children within this certain age bracket, from age 5 to age 7 or 8 or 10, I can give them 2-3 hours of my time. You people just bring 500 naira every month. That's you doing some research, trying to find out the pain points of the people within your community and providing solutions. And this could be in any field. It could be, I've used personal cook as an example. I have used laundry, cleaning service. I've used all sort of things. And this is the sort of mindset that we want to encourage in this community. We want to say, you cannot continue to ask what the government is doing for me. You cannot continue to say there is no job. Create jobs within your local community. Use the pain points of people and create tailor-made solutions within your local environment that will solve the problems, the problems of the people around you, and you get paid, in return. So basically, these are the 3 important things to know. Now, the next question is going to be, why is niche positioning important? So you want to ask, why is it even important? I have learned what niche marketing is and I understand it, but why should I even be concerned about niche positioning? Okay, so niche positioning is important because it allows a business. I like to use business because I don't like to use brand, because when you see brand or when you see company, you assume it's a big thing and you don't see yourself there. So it's still the same thing. It allows you as an individual freelancer to target a specific audience whose needs may not be entirely met by the mainstream products or services. Like I said earlier, it will amaze you that I have seen people, young people, who go as far as creating a menstrual pad, a reusable menstrual pad within their community for girls within that locality. It could be a tailor who is just sewing clothes, but he now felt that, oh, this is who in this community, the girls cannot afford to be buying pads, sanitary pads every month. And there are lots of girls in this community that are from 13 years to 18 years who will need sanitary pad. You can come up with an idea to create a sanitary pad that is reusable. It could be a couple, it could be maybe 5 pieces or 5 materials in one bag, and you put it there and you hang it in front of your tailoring shop, for example, and ask girls within that age or mothers who has children within that age to buy this pad. And when the girls uses it, they can wash it, sun it, and use it again. I'm just saying, these are some of the things that we see people have innovated around, and we're encouraging that you people, all of us here, should consistently find ways, to innovate. So basically, why it is important again is the fact that niche positioning would allow you or allow your business to target specific audience whose needs may not be entirely met by mainstream products or services. So if the mainstream products, for example, the sanitary pad I just said now, is too expensive for a particular market, your product can come in handy so much that your product can now beat what is currently available in the mainstream market. And those guys can buy your own part and use them and reuse them. And you find that you've created a market for yourself, basically. Then by focusing on by focusing on a niche market, a company can effectively differentiate itself from competitors and build a loyal customer base, leading to a sustainable long-term success. So I don't think that this even needs any kind of explanation. So let's move on to see what are the advantages of niche positioning. So some advantages of niche positioning includes reduced competition. I think in the course of the previous slides, we've mentioned that. So it means that if you are positioning your niche, you're going to reduce competition because the other people will not be able to do exactly what you do and how you do it. So finding those guys who are underserved, finding those that niche that only you can provide a unique solution after you have researched on their pain point, reduces competition because the other guys will not be able to meet up with the kind of service or the kind of product that you offer to these people. Another advantage is that there's a higher profit margin. Don't forget that you set the price. The fact that you don't have competitors means that the other competitors cannot even compete with you on any level. So if you set the price, for example, you get the materials uniquely by yourself, for example, it means that all the factors that comes with that service or that product, you create it, there are no competitors, and that way you're going to have a higher margin or profit margin, so to speak. And then one of the final advantages, most importantly, is the fact that you target a particular group of people. So you're going to be doing marketing. You're going to be offering marketing to a particular set of people. Sorry, I have someone visiting. Just give me a minute. Oh, sorry. Okay, so like I was saying, so if you decide to position your niche, you're going to have your marketing effort targeted only to those particular group of people. Now, when you focus on that niche market, it allows this business to invest its expertise and its resources, serving only that specific audience. So what it means is that you're not chasing everybody else like everybody else is chasing. Okay? So if other people, for example, I gave an example about my business, right? I said that for me, who is offering like a tutoring service, for example, right? I don't have to be chasing everybody else, okay? Other people can chase all the small businesses, all the people who are looking for entrepreneurs to come and get training, but I have decided that I'm going to be talking to only those guys who are unemployed. I'm going to be talking to only those guys who cannot really help themselves. I mean, those guys who are within I know that whenever I say this thing, it looks as though everybody here is necessarily poor. No, I'm not saying that everybody here is necessarily poor, but I'm saying that because I focused on the guys who are unemployed, it means that other people who think that they fall within that cadre would naturally tag along, okay, to want to subscribe to my service. And that's what I actually expect that as many of you would do. And like I also said, I have been in the space where I offer the same services to small businesses or to people who can actually pay for the service. But this is a choice to position what it is I offer in this particular market because it's something I do out of passion. Okay, it's something that I'm passionate about. So, sorry, I'm trying to mute somebody who is up there. When you come in, please try to mute your mic. So I would want to encourage as many of you who are thinking, who are positioning your businesses in your local environment, in the market where you serve, to be very specific about the people that you want to serve. I would insist and insist over again that there is nothing you sell that everybody will buy. I think we talked about this. We talked about this in our previous class where we said, even as basic as the social media platforms, not everyone is on every social media platforms. I would have to share sometimes some content to some people or some friends of mine who will say, "Oh, I'm not on Facebook." They will say, "Oh, I'm not on Instagram." Somebody will say, I'm on Instagram." Another person will say, "I'm on Facebook, but I'm not on Instagram." So no matter what it is you sell and no matter how popular it is, it's not everyone who's going to consume it. It's not everyone who's going to buy it. And that's the reason why niche marketing cannot be overemphasized. Okay. And it does you more good than harm, or how do I say it now? It's more advantageous to you because it will help you reduce the stress of trying to chase everybody. You will now just focus on chasing only the people who actually do need your product, and only the people who your product actually serves their pain points as much as possible. Okay. So with that being said, let's look at a few more tips, and I think we will close for today because this particular module is self-explanatory. It does not really need, too much talk about it. So how do you find your niche positioning? Now, to find your niche positioning, you want to start by identifying the gaps in the marketplace. Like I said, there is definitely some sets of people who cannot afford certain things. There's definitely some set of people who would not like certain things that are currently available in the market. So your product should find those guys who, and that's why I still say the research. And whenever I say research, it doesn't have to be anything big. Research can just be as basic as asking people within that locality questions like, oh, what sort of water do you drink, for example? Or what don't you like about this water, for example? Or you just have to ask people questions. And by the time you get their responses, it will give you clarity about what gap there is in the market. And then you can now know whether you have the solution to fill that gap. Okay, so if you're able to fill that gap and get those sets of people who have been underserved or who has not been served by the mainstream products in the market, then you already have carved the niche for yourself. It means that you've already carved the market for yourself, and you can build on that market. And like I said, also, you continue to innovate around that market, because for you to think that, oh, what you're providing to that market now is solving their problem and is always going to solve their problem, you lie. I've had experiences where I'm providing that solution, and after a year or 2 or 3, you find out that those same set of people, their preferences changed, or they no longer want those products anymore. They want something else, okay? So it means that you're going to have to consistently innovate, even still within that gap or within that small market space that you're in. Else, you might find that you might still be out of business, if you don't do that. So like I keep saying, research, ask questions. Research does not have to mean anything very professional. Just ask questions, find out what their preferences are, find out what their pain points are, find out what their frustrations are, okay? And that way you're able to, stay in that market and be sustainable. Then again, you also want to analyze the competitors also to determine what they're doing and what they're not doing, what they're overlooking, and see how you can develop your own unique value that sets you apart within the competition. And then again, the fact that there are competitors in that market who might not be serving the gap that you're serving does not mean that that competitor will not one day be interested in that gap, especially if that gap that you're serving becomes lucrative. So that's why I still said that being innovative and staying afloat and staying up in your game, is something that you want to continue to do. This entrepreneurship thing is not a joke, right? You have to keep, being at it. So before we close, let's look at some of the base or some of the important things that you need to pay attention to when you're trying to carve a niche or when you're trying to position your niche, basically. Now, customers want convenience, right? Everybody wants to be able to solve their problem in the most convenient and easy way. And of course, technology is here now. People just want to sit down. Back in those days, I remember when internet was not, all over the place. I remember those days, if I want to ask my graphic designer to design something for me, I will have to arrange with him from my house in Games Village, for example, to go to area 10. I'll have to drive there to go and see what he's doing. I think those BlackBerry days, or those days when the internet wasn't really what it is now, it was not convenient to have to do that. But these days, I don't even have to know the person who does the graphics, for example. I'm talking about the ones that I don't have to do myself, right? I don't even have to see him. I may never see him for 10